Hello and welcome to Sunday afternoon / evening. It is the 9th of June and I have come inside in my dining room. This is not a flashback to January, but I have come back inside in my dining room because the weather outside is shocking and it's very windy, and I thought you'd probably seen the greenhouse enough, so now it's time to see the dining room in all its glory. Not much has changed here in the dining room except that things have grown. I still haven't taken all my things outside yet, and by meaning things I mean plants. So let's talk about the next week. So I don't know where you're gardening in the world, and I don't know how things are going with you, but I spoke to my mum this morning. So in Australia, I know that we have flooding in the north, and it's very, very mild in the south. My mum's in Victoria. In the States, I've got some people in the States as well that watch, and their weather is going a little bit weird as well. So I'm now rethinking about my sowing strategies definitely for the beginning of July, and I will let you know what I'm going to do with those. But for the next few days, so I'm going to deal with Monday the 10th of June, Tuesday the 11th, it is the 10th, isn't it? Yeah, 11th of June, and Wednesday the 12th of June. I'm going to deal with those 3 days because I always give you 2 updates a week. Okay, let's go into June. If you are interested in what calendar I use the Maria Thun Biodynamic Calendar. It's the 2024 one. You need to get the book every year if you want to follow these moon gardening calendars, because obviously the moon cycles change. And not a huge amount, but they do change a little bit. Okay, so we had a week. This week was a week of days that I am now going to call tidy up or relaxing days. That's my new words for calling them those days, because I think they're nicer days. And one of my followers, one of my subscribers, had an idea that why don't I call them those days instead of unfavorable? And I totally agree. So I am. There we are. Okay, but this week, so Monday the 10th of June, tomorrow is a leaves day on the moon phase calendar. I also just want to remind you as well, just because I do my sowing according to the phases of the moon, it doesn't mean that you have to do your sowing according to the phases of the moon. You can also do your sowing for June. This is the June sowing, any day. But these are specific things to sow in June. So just to let you know, because I don't want people to think, oh, well, I'm not doing the moon phase gardening schedule, so I can't sow. I did a video at the beginning of the month of what I am sowing in June, and I also outlined the days that I'm sowing the seeds on according to the moon phase calendar. If you are not interested in that at all and you want to go and see what I'm just sowing, then go and have a look at that. I will put a link to that at the bottom in my description, that video. So leaves day on the moon phase calendar. So leaves days, okay, so I'm not sowing anything because I am up to date with my sowing. However, if you do want to sow something, then spring onions is always a go. Go with them. But think about your varieties. So go for something that likes the summer. I'm laughing. I shouldn't laugh about the weather. Okay, go for something that likes the summer. And the one that I recommend is one called Entita. So that one is a really good, well, I hope it's going to be a good one. It's a new one to me this year. The one that I usually sow in the summer is called Summer Island, but I can't seem to get the seeds for it anymore. So yes, anyhow, spring onions, of course, lettuce all the time. Your cut and come lettuce, the mix that you just sprinkle and then cut down and they come again, or head lettuce as well. So you can sow whatever you want there. Again, go for varieties that like summer weather. I like the Salanova varieties. I also like the Verano di Canasta. I also like Navara as well. So something that it does well in the summer. You'll see on the seed packets, they always say, and they recommend when to sow them as well. So transplanting, so now I'm coming into it. I have kales to transplant. I'm always transplanting kales. So as I'm harvesting the kale on the allotment, I then have a small one, another one ready to go in all the time, and it's happening the whole year. Lettuce is another thing that I'm always got this succession of going along. My lettuce in my 9 centimetre pots. They're looking pretty good. They're nearly ready to go out. I have to have a look at them tomorrow. If not, I will wait till the next leaves day. Salad onions, that's another one that I successionally sow all the time, or spring onions if you call them, or green onions. I do have some that are ready to go out. And a little tip is that if you're going to put your spring onions in the ground, put them around the edge of the border of your bed, and then you don't have to worry about thinking, oh dear, I wish I hadn't planted those there because I'm not using them yet and I need the bed for something else. So that's just a little tip. And the other thing is I have some cabbage. So I've got some Savoy that are ready to go out on the allotment. And I also have some red cabbage that I need to transplant into the next size pot, which is the 9 or 10 centimetre pots as well. I always do that. Nowadays, with all the pests that we have in the garden and on the allotment, I always transplant my little seedlings into 9 centimetre pots. Once they've filled the pot with roots in that, they then go out. So by that stage, they're already about 8 inches tall. Then I find that they are a lot more resilient to slugs, snails, aphids, anything like that. All those pests love little tiny succulent seedlings. So I just wait and then I put them out and I don't seem to have a problem. So that is how I do all of my kind of transplanting. Okay, weeding and maintenance. So the kale bed on the allotment, I'll get underneath that netting and have a look what's going on under there. The lettuce, I'm finishing harvesting the lettuce in the greenhouse on the allotment. That will all be gone and finished. Spring onions as well. So I've got all my spring onions here at home. I was kind of semi-weeding the bed the last roots day we had. But spring onions fall under both categories of roots and leaves. And so I will continue weeding the bed that I've got these spring onions in, or salad onions. That will all be done. I also have got them in between the rows of my carrots. So again, I'll do some weeding in there. And then I've got some spinach. And I have these 2 varieties of spinach. I put them in really late. And one of them is called Mikado. Okay, so that's going to seed, that's bolting. The other one is called Santa Cruz, and that is meant to be a slow no bolter. Well, at the moment, it's looking fantastic. So I am going to sow some more spinach at the end of the month, because if this is spinach that will, well, okay, we haven't had really hot days, but if it lasts through the summer, this is a winner, this spinach. So I will get into that bed, do a little bit of weeding. It's pretty good at the moment, and get all of that done. So feeding, again, if anything looks a little bit dodgy or a little bit yellow, I'll give it a feed, just a normal general feed for leaves. So Tuesday the 11th and Wednesday the 12th of June are both fruits days again. So this is the time, I'm not sowing anything, except maybe some more dwarf French beans. I sowed some purple ones called amethyst, and I sowed some green ones called Sprite, and none of the green ones have come up, which is a bit strange for a bean, actually. Now I'm going to have to dig around and see what's happened in there. They're in exactly the same tray. So the watering has been the same for both. All the purple ones are up, and I've got nothing on the other ones. So I will have a look. And I might have to re-sow with something else. And this was a green one. Like I said, it's called Sprite. Other than that, I'm not sowing anything. If you do want to sow something, then you've still got time. This is kind of your last chance to sow some zucchini or courgettes. They are so fast growing that you should be able to get something out of them. And because you're sowing later, you might even bypass powdery mildew. Fingers crossed. The other thing is dwarf beans. You could also put some dwarf beans in because they're so much faster growing than climbing beans. So you could put in a load of those as well. Okay, transplanting fruits. So I've got courgettes. I haven't even put my winter squash on the allotment yet because it's just too cold. And I've been watching other people's allotments to see what their squash are doing, and they're doing nothing. So I've got them in pots at the moment, and once it starts to warm up, I will put them out. I'm going to have a very small harvest, but I suppose it's better than nothing. Courgette, squash, tomato. I'm still doing tomatoes. So these tomatoes are my grafted tomatoes that I got from a company, and they were really poor when they arrived. So that's why they've had to sit in here and wait. And now they come good, look. Okay, that's had a bit of a, don't look at that. Look at that. So they're ready to go out. These are going out into my greenhouse, the big greenhouse, these ones. Tomatoes, I've also got some sweet corn. It's too cold to put the sweet corn out. The sweet corn's about this big now. It can wait. And I've got some beans, chilies, and cucumbers. The cucumbers are a worry. They're doing really well here, actually. The window in the dining room, I might even leave them. What if I could leave them? I might leave them here. I have to talk to Mr. N. And then weeding and maintenance. So my beans on the allotment, which is very disappointing. Broad beans are looking good. I'm going to have to start harvesting them. Peas, chilies, peppers, tomatoes, courgettes. It's that time of year. And I'm feeding regularly now with the tomato food and with the chili focus as well. The tomato focus that I'm using it's good. It seems to be good. I mean, it's seaweed based. The tomatoes are liking it, really liking that, that I've got in buckets in the big greenhouse. And that's it. That is up until Wednesday, the 12th of June. So I'm Susie B from SusyBLiving, and thank you for watching. I hope that you are having a good summer or going into winter as well. Be really interesting. Mum said to me, so I keep up to date with what's going in on the southern hemisphere through my mum, and she said that it is quite incredible how things are growing because she's getting ready, you know, into winter. It's so mild there down in Victoria, and the skiing season opened this weekend, and there's no snow. No snow. And she was saying that they were going to use the snow machine to make snow, and they thought, well, what's the use? It's so mild, it'll just come out as water. So that ain't happening as well. And she's got tomatoes self-seeding in the garden. It's all just very, very weird. But, you know, we adapt. So, thumbs up. Yay, that's nice. And hit that subscribe button as well, because you will be getting my schedule onwards and upwards for the rest of the year and onwards. And I will see you next time. I will see you on Wednesday evening. See you later. Bye.